Ladies and gentlemen, we are just one night away from the polls closing. As you know, we are talking about the US presidential election campaign. We are talking about the US presidential poll, the election, which ends tomorrow night, November 5th night. I welcome all of you to CVR English, and this is Prime Time with me, Anukriti Sharma, and today's focus. The focus of tonight's show is once again the countdown to the US presidential election, the tightest one, the hardest one, possibly the most aggressive and the most violent one in the last 50 years. Ladies and gentlemen, we are just one night away from the polls. I know, I can't believe it either. And in every election, you always hear, every vote counts. But this election, it really does. The polls tell us it's the hardest race in half a century, and both the candidates are treating it that way. Trump and Harris spent a weekend all over the battlegrounds giving each other their best shot. Both the campaigns are also talking a lot of trash. Former President Barack Obama, he's been running around in DC telling everybody, and I quote him here, the undecideds are breaking for Harris. Now, Trump's campaign management is not accepting it. According to the Trump's campaign manager, and I quote, Obama's people are lying. David can't do anything but spread lies until Tuesday because we are bound to win. The only thing the Harris campaign has got functional at this point is a statement, that to a lie, and is being dutifully repeated by the legacy media as if a fact. Unquote. Team Harris viewers, Team Harris on the other side is now claiming they are no longer the underdogs in this campaign. Trump's campaign is scoffing at that. Trump's campaign is literally scoffing at that. They say they are the ones who are expanding the map. On election night, viewers, Trump has had a keen eye on New Jersey. If it's a closer, if New Jersey does become a closer, then Trump's going to be having a big night tomorrow. Also Tuesday, which happens to be tomorrow, look at New Hampshire. That state's not supposed to be a battleground, but apparently now it is. Clinton and Biden just went there. Trump sent J.D. Vance there yesterday, and Trump himself literally tore up his schedule to make a last-minute stop in Virginia. So watch these three states early Tuesday evening, and these states, I promise you, will tell you a lot about the election results. The betting markets have had Trump ahead pretty consistently, but big money has been coming in on Harris lately. And according to the Nate Silver model, the predicted electoral votes for Trump should stand close to about 267 and at 270 for Harris. A sliver of an edge. But remember, this election is going to be decided in the battlegrounds only, and the polls have been quite interesting. Trump is leading in every swing state lately, but Harris just took the tiniest lead in Michigan and Wisconsin recently. But she's still down in Pennsylvania. But behind the scenes, are they really confident? Behind the scenes, is Kamala Harris really confident? And on the ground in Pennsylvania, the Democrats don't know what's going to happen. Although Harris's team is hoping that Trump voters don't turn out. But early numbers, viewers, say that they actually are. Republicans have been beating the drum that Trump has to win. Trump has been spending a lot of time in Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. Because if he wins those three East Coast states with healthy margins, we'll know who the president is going to be on election night. Maybe. While on the other hand, on the other side, Harris has been spotted city hopping. She's hopping for huge turnouts. And she's also hoping for huge turnouts in Atlanta, Philly, Charlotte, and Detroit. She needs big black turnout to carry on in the battlegrounds. And today she stopped by a barber shop in Michigan because, as we all know, she's got a man problem. The gender crisis is high. When it comes to voting for both these candidates so far, more men have been voting for Donald Trump in comparison to Kamala Harris. 18%, to be precise, have gone for Trump this time, as opposed to 16% men voting for Harris so far. So it's shaping up to be also a battle of the genders. These two are battling down to the wire, viewers. Both the campaigns have spent up to about $1 billion in ads. They've blown money on ads, $1 billion. The Democrats with an edge in spending. I know you're all fed up with the ads, but just look at the bright side here. In just one day, in just one more day, no more ads. I can't even believe that people are undecided at this point, but every time either of these two candidates opens up their mouths, they can either win or lose votes. Kamala just voted early in California yesterday. Kamala, interestingly, refused to comment on how she voted. The same Kamala not taking a position on a big issue because it might affect the election. Well, I guess that sums up her whole election campaign. She couldn't be more of a politician if she tried. Meanwhile, Biden is saying whatever he pleases. He doesn't give a flip, apparently. The Harris campaign is still reeling from the quote-unquote garbage statement of his. The last thing that the Harris campaign needs, the last thing that the Democrats need is Biden popping off again. But he did it again this weekend. And you'll get to see that in a while. You will get to see that in a while. So in the last 2 weeks, Biden said he wants to, quote-unquote, lock up Trump and smack his garbage supporters, unquote. At this point, both the campaigns are not really playing it safe. Trump, because he does not know how to, and Kamala, because she can't control Joe. Well, whatever happens for the next 24 hours, expect the media and the pollsters to flood the zone with good news for Kamala and depressing news for Trump. They'll be trying their best to prop up the Democrats and somehow demoralize the Republicans. They did this in 16, they did it in 20. Both the races, though, decided by just 30 to 40,000 votes across 3 to 4 swing states. And they are telling us that this time around, the race is even tighter. So two big fighters here. The fundamentals of the race, however, haven't changed a bit. They remain the same. And tomorrow, no one else can decide the election except you. If you are in America, if you are an Indian American and you go out and vote, you, viewers, get to decide. Take a look at this report.
Concerning developments have voted. And let me ask, anybody here already voted? And let me then ask, who here has already voted?
We must defeat Kamala Harris and stop her radical left agenda.
Turn the page on a decade of Donald Trump.
If Kamala wins, you are 3 days away from the start of a 1929-style economic depression. I believe that.
Just Google Project 2025, which still I can't believe they put in writing.
Project 2025. And I said, I don't know about it. Everything she says is a lie.
He wants to put them in jail. I will give them a seat at the table.
America will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than ever before.
A country of chaos, fear, and hate, or a country of freedom, justice, and compassion.
Kamala broke it, and we will fix it, and we're going to fix it fast.
And when we fight, we win.
You're the worst vice president in history. Kamala, you're fired. Get the hell out of here.
But I'm here to tell you tonight, based on my reporting with Democrats and Republicans nationally and in both those states, that it could be that Kamala Harris wins Pennsylvania but loses the White House because she loses Wisconsin. My reporting is that she's in trouble in Wisconsin. This is based on 3 sources, 2 Republicans, 1 Democrat, all of whom know the state quite well, and all of whom told me today the same version of they would be somewhere between surprised and shocked if Kamala Harris won Wisconsin.
The gender gap, again, we've talked about this throughout the campaign. We've talked about this for decades. Trump up 18 with men, Harris 16 with women. That is a 34-point gender gap by about 10 points. If this happens, this would be the biggest gender gap ever recorded.
Stunning, and his lead with men bigger than her lead with women.
How did you vote on Prop 36?
So my ballot is on its way to California, and I'm going to trust the system that it will arrive there. And I am not going to talk about the vote on that because, honestly, it's the Sunday before the election, and I don't intend to create an endorsement one way or another around it. So, but I did vote.
I know some of you guys are tempted to think it's macho guy. I'll tell you what. When I was in Scranton, we used to have a little trouble going down the plot once in a while from Greenwich. But I'm serious. These are the kind of guys you like to smack in the ass.
Meanwhile, Elon Musk is preparing for the Trumpian victory. Well, he backs the Republican candidate and now he is working on policy prescriptions for the next US president in the hope and belief that it is going to be Donald Trump. Now, Musk, as you all know, is the world-famous billionaire entrepreneur, the man who chases big ideas like electric cars and space rockets. Well, he's got a new idea this time. Elon Musk wants to tackle America's debt problem, and he says that he does have a plan. He can reduce America's expenses by $2 trillion. Musk has called America's debt a ticking time bomb, and he actually has a point. As of today, the US owes over $35 trillion. And viewers, it is an unsustainable debt. According to Elon Musk, the US pays $1 trillion as interest itself. $1 trillion every year as interest. That's more than America's entire defense budget, by the way. And Musk says that taxpayer money is being wasted and he can help reduce this wastage by as much as $2 trillion. Now, a quick reminder, Elon Musk is not on the ballot in this election. He's not on the ticket. He's not even contesting for a seat in the US Congress. Yet, he's sounding more and more like a candidate in the election these days, if you've noticed carefully. He's been actively campaigning for Donald Trump, not just as a star campaigner like all of us know. The other candidate, Kamala Harris, has got a huge line of stars vying for her, who are ready to campaign for her, who are supporting her all the way from Taylor Swift to Eminem. But Donald Trump has got Elon Musk on his side. Elon Musk not as a star campaigner, but as a major donor. Musk has poured in millions into Trump's campaign already, more than $100 million to be precise. He's been giving out $1 million checks to voters just like that. Trump has even promised him a role in his future administration. Clearly, Trump seems to be entertained and impressed by SpaceX and Elon Musk. Perhaps he's hoping that Musk can use some of that complicated rocket science to make America's debt disappear. And Elon Musk seems eager too, eager to take on this challenge. Earlier, he had proposed what is known as a Government Efficiency Commission, a body to rein in on government expenditures. A Government Efficiency Commission. This is just a proposal at this point, and no such commission exists at the moment. But Musk is acting like he's already in charge of it. So what is his big plan, viewers? And how will he contain America's debt? Well, that he's yet to share. The specifics are missing from his public pitches. He keeps talking about it a lot at Trump's rallies and amplifying his claims on X, the social media platform that he acquired, and in fact, his recent posts focus almost entirely on the election, with Republican content and conspiracy theories. X has now become Elon Musk's official mouthpiece for the US election. Since he acquired it, and now he's been using this platform rather freely to rally more and more support for Trump. Basically, Elon Musk right now is a major booster, a major supporter for Trump. He's betting big, he's betting hard on the former president. And beyond all the social media amplification and personal donations, Musk is also building grassroots support for Trump. He's created a fund called the America PAC. 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 It stands for Political Action Committee. These are commonly used to funnel money into the election campaigns, and Musk has gathered lawyers, PR professionals, and all the political pundits. His team is now working closely with Trump's team, and they're trying to mobilize more and more voters by canvassing the battleground states, basically the 7 swing states. The goal is to bring at least 800,000 Americans to vote for Trump. So Musk is going all out backing Donald Trump. And this is not just about his political preferences. You see, this is not a question of his political preferences. This is also a big business decision for him. It is also a big business decision. This election is a business investment for him. Let's not forget, viewers, even for a moment, all said and done, keeping all his activities aside, Elon Musk first and foremost is a businessman. He believes in business. He wants an ally basically in the White House, and Trump fixed that bill. Trump's policies aligned with Musk's priorities, which means what, you might ask? Fewer checks and regulations, lesser governmental interference, and most importantly, tariffs on Chinese companies. Elon Musk finds the Democrats weak on this front, and throughout Biden's tenure, Musk had multiple spats with the president. And in the recent days, in fact, Biden and the Democrats have been slamming Musk. Biden even called Elon Musk, quote unquote, an illegal worker. Now, there's a background story here. Musk was born in South Africa, and in the 1990s, he came to the US on a student visa. But he ended up dropping out of the course. Reports say he was working illegally in the United States. Later, he transitioned to a work visa and finally became a citizen of the US a decade later. Now, Musk has denied all these allegations. He says, and I quote, "The Democrats are just getting desperate as they are losing on the election. And this battle is only going to heat up as we inch closer to the election day, which happens to be tomorrow. Tomorrow is the election day. The Democrats may not like Elon Musk, but they cannot afford to ignore him." Ladies and gentlemen, in an election as close as this one, he could prove to be the difference between victory and defeat. Take a look.
She never made one phone call in 4 years to the Border Patrol. After this, crazy. president again. Yes, yes, we're fighting our president. I used to call it when I had nothing to do. I said, call the Border Patrol. And we got, just drop that chart, please. That chart, my all-time favorite chart. My all-time favorite chart. I love that chart. I sleep with that chart. I kiss it every night before I go. Because I wouldn't be here if it weren't for the chart. If you take a look at the arrow at the bottom, that was the day I left office. That was the lowest illegal immigration we ever had. And I kept it pretty good. And then you take a look, and we had Mexico pay for their soldiers. They didn't want to pay for their soldiers. I said, you have to give us soldiers while we build the wall. And they paid so much money to us, and they said, we're not going to do that. They actually laughed at me when I suggested it. And I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a tariff of 100% on all your cars and everything that comes into the United States. They said, you know what they said? Sir, we would be greatly honored to let you have our soldiers free of charge. Thousands. How many would you need, sir? I said, as many as it takes. And they were great. They made a big contribution to our security, let me tell you. But they got to stop with, now we're talking Turkey. One of the first calls I'm going to make is to Mexico. You stop letting people come in through our border and come in through your southern border, and you stop it. Because Mexico, and I had a great relationship with the president, but he retired now. He left. He was a good man. He was a socialist. You can't have everything, but he was a good man. But they paid a fortune for the soldiers along the border. We were able to have great numbers. Well, built 571 miles of wall. I was going to add 200. By the way, far more than I said. I was talking about 200, 250. We built 571.
Ever wonder why your job applications don't get responses even when you have the skills and years of experience? Look, it's not your fault. It's the outdated hiring system. But it's time to end the cycle of ignored job applications, endless interviews, and no callbacks. I cracked the code and became a vice president in just 2 months.
But now we have a new president in Mexico. Supposed to be a very nice woman. They say I haven't met her. And I'm going to inform her on day one or sooner that if they don't stop this onslaught of criminals and drugs coming into our country, I'm going to immediately impose a 25% tariff on everything they send in to the United States of America. And the reason I delayed that, you're the first ones I've told it to. Congratulations, North Carolina. And it's only got a 100% chance of working, because if that doesn't work, I'll make it 50. And if that doesn't work, I'll make it 75 for the tough guys. And I'll make it 100. Then I'll make it 100. And at some point, they'll have so many soldiers on their southern border. You know, their southern border is where they come in. They come right through. And, by the way, it has a 100% chance of working. It's only a question. I'll start off at 25%. That's a lot. Do you know Mexico's our #1 trading partner? Do you know what that costs? They make a fortune. They've taken over our country in a way since this Biden-Harris people. They became our #1 trading partner, and they're ripping us off left and right. It's ridiculous. They're not going to rip us off. They wanted $3 billion to meet with me. They wouldn't have said that with me. I would have said, oh, really? You want $3 billion to meet? I'd do the opposite. If you don't give us $3 billion, I'll impose the biggest frickin' tax. You know, I've never told you any of this, and I wanted to wait till the day because I don't want to have her. She's a low IQ individual. I don't want to have her say, you know, I had an idea last night while I was sleeping, turning, tossing, sweating. Because I sleep, I turn and I toss and I sweat and I sleep like, no, I don't even sleep, you know. You know, I've gone through 62 days without a day off. Every single day. Every single day. And you know what? She takes a day off every other day. Last week, she makes a terrible little, you know, she has these press conferences that last for about 2 minutes, and then she takes the day off. You know, when you're running for the president of the United States and you want to do it because you have to fix the country, that's the way I'm doing. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. I could be at the most gorgeous beaches in the world right now, but I'd much rather be with you people because you people are, I like you people better. I'd much rather be with you. No, I would. No, and we're doing something historic. You know what we're doing? This has never been done before. They'll never have rallies like this. You know, we went to Milwaukee the other night, and we're doing great in Wisconsin, by the way. We could have filled that arena. What are that? 28,000 seats, including the floor, fully packed. We could have filled that arena 3 times, maybe 4 times. The people outside, thousands and thousands of people. It's never going to be that. In 4 years, you're going to have a candidate, Republican, Democrat candidate, and they're going to come to North Carolina, right? And they're going to say, how many are there? And the consultants back there that make a fortune because they think they bring these people. You know, they don't bring, nobody brings anything. We bring them. We together bring them. But you know what they're going to say? And the same people that be represented, very smart people, they're very good people. You have to, you know, can't give them too much leash. We can't give them too much. But they're going to have 250 people come. And that's standard. See the ladies of North Carolina? They've come. Those beautiful, beautiful ladies. They're looking better and better all the time. These beautiful ladies, and I think they're very well to do. I mean, they're always so beautiful, beautifully coiffed. Look at that. They're just, but here's what I love. They're great Americans. They love our country. They love North Carolina. They come from North Carolina. Isn't it nice where you can sort of be closer? They'll travel to California. If I went to Hawaii, they'd be in Hawaii. I think they're loaded. You want to know the truth? I think their husbands. The reason I never see their husbands is because they're working like hell. Because these wives are traveling all over the place. 257. They've been at 257 rallies, and their husbands are going to be so happy when this ends. But I don't want, and you know exactly what I'm saying, I didn't want to say this about what I'm going to do at the border. I stopped at the biggest auto plant in the world from being built on the border. China, and I have a lot of respect for China. Look, they're smart as hell. They get angry when I say it, the fake news. So, they're smart as hell. They're like playing chess and grandmasters against playing an average checker player and maybe a less than average checker player. The deals, when I came into office, I've never seen such bad deals with Japan, with China, with the worst trade deals. I actually said, there's only 2 reasons we could have deals so bad. The people making the deals were corrupt, which I actually believe, or they were very stupid. And I think you had a combination of both. And we fixed a lot of those deals. We would have had them all fixed up, but then we had to fix COVID. But we had the greatest, think of it, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country. The greatest. We had the greatest border. That's done by Border Patrol. That's not a Trump special. That's done by Border Patrol. That lovely, gorgeous, I look at it, I get tears in my eyes. And you know, the day of that horrible situation in Butler, it was just about there. It's weird that you have it almost, because it's usually all over the place. You have no idea where it's coming up. When I say lift up the sign, I usually have to look all over there. I have one over there. But that graph is so meaningful because but even if the numbers were bad, I would still kiss it just equally. But those are the best numbers in the history of the border. And then look, it was like an Elon Musk rocket ship went up. They announced they were going to open the borders. I thought they were kidding. I built 200 miles of rail, and this is what Border Patrol wanted. I wanted to have concrete plank like in a parking lot, straight up and down the air, but you wouldn't get vision, and concrete is not as strong in terms of steel. They have very strong specifications. They wanted to have steel, hardened steel, very hard to cut. Then they wanted to have very powerful, high-number concrete, so very hard concrete. And then they wanted to have rebar at the highest level of steel strength in the middle, because it's very hard to cut. It's like, it can be done if you're really good, but it's very hard. And then they wanted to have a anti-climb panel on top. I hate it. I hate the anti-climb. I said, I don't like it. It's so beautiful without that damn panel. I said, don't make me do that, sir. It's an anti-climb panel, and it's called that for a reason. And we actually had testers. We had guys, 2 guys that climbed Mount Everest. I said they should qualify. But you know who the best were? We had drug runners. These guys are unbelievable. They went up that thing like it was nothing. Like I never, with 75 pounds of drugs on their back. Drug runners. They were beating the Mount Everest. Well, it's a different profession after all. But they were right. That anti-climb panel stops them cold. They couldn't get over the anti-climb, so I said, let's do it. Let's do it. But we built 200 miles of additional, and all they had to do was put it up. The hard work was done. They were built, it was delivered, and the hard work was done. Highest specification. Cost more money than what I would have done, but what I would have done, they have acids that actually melt concrete. They have certain acids that you put down. Those planks would have come down very easy. These guys are ingenious. You know, if they would spend their brains on good, everything in the world would be nice. No, they're genius. The way they smuggle drugs into our country. You got to see the cars. They build cavities in engines. So you're inspecting a car. They have them in hubcaps that even if you take the hubcap, you can't find them. It's like a double hubcap. It's the craziest thing. If they would spend that genius on doing good for their country or for us, I mean, we would have no problem. I mean, it's really incredible. And, you know, the people that do the trafficking, what they do with the women is, they put them in trunks of cars. It's mostly women, by the way. Mostly women. A lot of people say traveling and trafficking. But the trafficking is women. And the reason is it's become as big as the drugs. And the reason is because of the Internet. The Internet made it a modern business and a big business. And I'll tell you, some of these guys are among the richest people in the world. And they run a real operation. And they essentially take care of Kamala because they even have an app where they can call. So they learn where they can drop people that they're putting into the country, where they can come through with drugs. They have an app. Can you believe you call an app? You're now a drug trafficker or a human trafficker, and you say, ding, 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 hello? Where do I drop these people? Go about 7 miles up, and then go a mile left and just drop them at the opening in the gate. Okay, can you believe this? This is Kamala. So all that stuff ends very quickly. We'll get that thing built. But they could have put up 200 miles. Oh, you know what they did with that expensive stuff? And it's expensive. They had it laying in the sand, laying in the mud. It was all there to be put up. All they had to do is flip it up. It goes like, they put it up real fast. 3 weeks. The whole thing, we would have had 750 miles of wall. Think of it. And boy, walls work. Walls work and wheels work. You know, they never get obsolete, right? The computers, in about 2 minutes, they're obsolete. And, but we have the best computer guy there is, right? We have Elon. And he loves it. And you know where Elon is right now? Elon is right now. He's in Pennsylvania campaigning because he thinks it's the single most important thing he's ever worked on. Elon Musk, and we want to thank him. He's an amazing guy. When I saw that rocket came down, when I saw that sucker come down, 22 stories, by the way. You know, if people think it's like 5 feet high, it's 22 stories. That sucker's coming down, and It's those engines were blowing. He says it's all computers. It's true. That thing. I said, oh man, it's going to crash. No, dude, it's going right into the gantry. Right? It's going to crash. And then the engines, the fire starts blowing. The bottom left, the whole bottom left is blowing, and it just pushed it up. And then it came down, and those two big arms, you saw the arms? They grabbed that thing like you grab your beautiful baby. See, I'd gotten much better. Years ago, I would have said something else, but I've learned. You have to learn. I would have been a little bit more risque. Like you grab your child, and I put it in place, and I called Elon. I said, was that you? Yes. And he said, that's genius. He said, yeah, there was a lot of brain power went into that. I said, why do you do that? He said, well, we don't want to drop a ship in the ocean every time it goes, and you have to start all over. Those things cost billions of dollars. He said, this way we save them. I said, can Russia do that? No. Will they be able to? No, not for a long time. What about China? No. We opened up Space Command. We did the whole thing. If we didn't do that, we'd be way, way behind. Space Force. Space Force. We got one of the many. We did so many things with the tax cuts, the regulation cuts, the right to try for those people that are terminally ill. You get the right to try our medicines here instead of going to Asia and Europe. Or if you have no money going home, which is about 99% have no money and they go home. But the few people that have the kind of money you need for that, they'd go to Europe, they'd go to Asia. And we have the best labs in the world. And nobody ever talks about it. They tried to get it for 50 years. I got it done, passed through Congress. You think anything's easy to get passed through those guys? It's not easy. But we did so many things, and we've saved thousands and thousands of lives. It's worked out unbelievably. And, nobody wanted it. The scientists didn't want it because they're terminally ill. They don't want to start from a terminally ill person. Looks bad on the records. They didn't want record sheets. Insurance companies hated it. It was very, very... I got everybody into a room. Our country hated it because our country will get sued. When somebody's terminally ill, they die and they sue the country. I said, you can't do that. Got everybody in the room. And I signed an agreement. Everybody agreed that we're going to work beautifully with people that are terminally ill, but they're not going to be allowed to sue anybody. If they die, they die. And if they live, it's going to be the greatest. We have saved thousands of people. And nobody ever talks about it. Nobody ever talks about thousands and thousands. We have a person in this room who was saved by right to try. We're a space-age drug. They're doing things, but it takes a long time to get them approved, or I cut it in half. I cut that time in half. But the FDA takes 12 years sometimes to get something. And by the time it's approved, a lot of people are gone. So when they're terminally ill, we get them that drug right away. They sign an agreement that I or my family will not ever, for any reason and under any circumstance, sue the United States government, such and such a drug maker, such and such a lab, Dr. Schwartz, Dr. Jones. We will not sue anybody. We just want to get better. And that's all it says. Pretty good, right? That's pretty good for only a semi-non-lawyer. But that's essentially what it says. And the funny thing is, the ones that were most against it were the drug companies and the labs. We have the greatest labs in the world. What we're doing, space-age things, and we got it started. It was dying on the limb before I came along. Well, NASA was dead. When I came along, all you're seeing with the space, and NASA was dead. NASA had grass growing out of its runways. They had, every time there was a crack, you had grass. The place was dead. Now it's the most vibrant center anywhere in the world. All of their centers, it's vibrant, and Elon brought it back, and the people at NASA are doing a great job. They're all working together. But we brought it back. And ultimately, we want to go to Mars and all, but what I want it for is defense. And Russia and China were killing us in space, and space is so important. It's going to end up being, maybe, I don't want to say more important than the Marines, because they'll never speak to me again, but I'll tell you what, it is going to be right up there in terms of importance. It's important. If we didn't have it, we were being lapped by China. They have stuff up there, and Russia, even though they're a little bit busy killing a lot of people. A war that would have never taken place. Zero chance. I'd speak to Vladimir Putin a lot. It was the apple of his eye. Don't do it. Don't do it. I mean, I closed up his pipeline. It was dead. Nord Stream 2. Biden came in and he allowed it to go. But he closed up the Keystone XL pipeline, our pipeline. Think of that. I said, no, Joe, you got it wrong. You let Keystone go forward and you close up the Russian pipeline. But he did the opposite. And then they said, oh, Trump loves Russia. Trump loves Russia. It's the biggest project they've ever had. I closed it up. Then he came in. The first day he was there, he let him build it. So what is that? Oh, that sounds so cute. I love dogs. I love dogs. We love dogs. You know, Lara Trump, by the way, you happen to know she's married to my son, and she's the vice chairman along with Michael. They're doing an incredible job. But she would come into the office, and she loves dogs and pets, and she would get me to do things for doggies that you wouldn't believe. Dad, we have to make the cages larger. We have to provide air conditioning. Can you believe it? I didn't know too much about it, but you understand what I'm saying? In these kennels where they're obviously not treated too good. I said, so do we have to give them a steam bath, or do I? He said, no, she was very, very strong, and I listened to her when she talks, I listen. But Laura was so incredible. As you know, she was born in North Carolina, lived here her whole life. And even Ted Budd, who's doing an incredible job. And I said, Ted, run for the Senate. And he said, I'll do it, but I'm only going to do it if Laura's not going to run. Is that right? He said, I'm only doing it if Laura. And she said, you know, I've devoted so much time, and I'm raising these beautiful children. I have a great husband, and you know, and Ted is great. She said that. She said, you have a great guy in Ted, very nice. But he did say that, and I you know, a lot of people would say they'll bowl through. Nobody would have had a chance. They love her. They love her in the party. They love her even the Democrats love her. Can you believe it? Stand up, Ted. Stand up. And he's doing a great job. But I thought that was really nice. And she knew he would do a great job. Tomorrow you have to stand up and tell Kamala that you've had enough. You can't take anymore. You just can't. What? They're all screaming fire, please. I mean, what a terrible job. What they have done to our country. And you're going to say that to her. You're going to say, you've done a terrible job, you're grossly incompetent, we're not going to take it anymore. Kamala, you're fired. Get the hell out. Get the hell out of here. You're out of here. Get out of here. That's what you're doing. Thank you very much. So with your vote, we're going to win North Carolina, we're going to defeat Kamala, and we're going to make America great again. I hope you don't mind that entire opening, you know, I was going to get out of here fast. I'm doing 4 of these things today. They're big. And the voice is holding up just about barely. But I had to express it. You have been a very special group to me because I've won I've never lost a primary. I've never lost. In North Carolina, I've won everything. I won those elections. I've made all these friends. So I just did you a little bit of a thing. And by the way, the press will say, oh, he rambled. No, that's not rambling. You know what that is? That was genius. That's the weed. No, see, I wove, frankly, the rest of it I don't really even have to talk about. But that was the ultimate weave. And think of it. Isn't it nice that you can have a president that doesn't need to use a teleprompter? Isn't it nice? And I got to go a little quicker now because you know what? I took Marco's place and I took Sarah Huckabee Sanders' place. I said, do you mind if I go now? Because you know what? We got to keep a schedule. And I'm going to ask them to come up right now. Just come up. Because I took their place. And it's so rude. Marco is a big winner, beautiful winner from Florida. As you know, he's a great guy. He's my friend. And Sarah's now the governor of Arkansas. And we love those people in Arkansas. So while I'm talking, I'm going to ask them to come. See, we're trying to conserve a little time. But they are incredible people. Oh, come on up if you can, if you're around, wherever. Come on. Okay. That's called efficiency. I figure Sarah would be finished now and Marco would just about be getting started. Two great friends, two very talented. No, but I figured Sarah would just about...
You're wrong if you think LinkedIn is just for applying for jobs. It is the holy grail for leads, work, and networking opportunities. And in just 5 days, you can learn all the strategies you need to turn your LinkedIn account into a lead generation magnet without spending a rupee in ads. I am talking about this workshop by Web of Sisinti.
Hi guys, my name is Web of Sisinti. I'm the founder of Growth School and I help people unlock the full potential of LinkedIn since 2021. And what if I tell you that just by investing a couple of hours over 5 days, you can learn all of this.
President, again, we know we've never had a president who fights more, who fights harder, and loves this country the way that Donald J. Trump does, and that's why we need him back in the White House. Every day when the left was relentlessly attacking me, it was Donald Trump who stood up for me, who empowered me, and gave me confidence to do my job. And that's what he does for every single American, every single day. He will not let us down. Make sure you get out and vote, North Carolina. We need you because America needs Donald Trump, and we're going to make it happen. Thank you so much for all you're doing.
We took thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Unfortunately, our country took a wrong turn 4 years ago, and now we're stuck in a malaise. Everything is bad news. Our border is broken. We're not respected in the world. Hardworking men and women have been forgotten and left behind. Our allies don't trust us, and our enemies don't fear us. We are tired of living in a country that is no longer dreaming big, but that is going to change tomorrow, and you're going to help change it. Tomorrow, North Carolina and the country are going to make our 45th president our 47th president. And with Donald Trump back in the White House, together we will dream big again for this country. We will be a country that once again is proud of its history, excited about its future, because together with Donald Trump, we are going to make America not just great, but greater than it has ever been before. Thank you. Okay, so they both did better. If they stood up here and spoke each for half an hour, what they just did was better and appreciated and brings us a little bit into schedule. You know, one thing Marco was talking and I said, you got hit so hard by that hurricane and we didn't care about what we're doing today. We only cared about saving lives. And we did a good job. FEMA did a horrible job. The administration, they're still not there. You know why? Because they've spent all their money on bringing in murderers and a lot of people. They spent all their money on bringing in illegal migrants. They've also taken a lot of your jobs, especially jobs from the black population. But think of this. When I started having to think about North Carolina a little bit in terms of a thing called the election, I said to our people back there, who've been fantastic,
well, viewers, as
Chris,
you could
Susie,
see,
everybody.
those were the live visuals all the way from the United States, where Donald Trump is addressing an election campaign rally all the way from North Carolina. He is in North Carolina as we speak with you, and he is addressing the people of America from North Carolina. There's a humongous election campaign rally going on, and Trump is addressing them. Trump is addressing the Americans as well as the Indian Americans in North Carolina. Well, this election campaign, this US election campaign of 2024 is basically a rematch of the 2020 campaign. The only difference is that this year, in the month of July, this election campaign got upended when Joe Biden happened to really fumble and fail miserably during his first speech, which was delivered. The speech, the contest of speeches between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. When Joe Biden failed miserably in that speech, he decided to step down from the US presidential campaign, from the US presidential race rather, and he decided to step up the current vice president, the current American vice president Kamala Harris. That's when the whole game changed. The whole game changed, the whole stage was upended. And Kamala Harris stepped up to the table and decided to compete against Donald Trump. So it's basically a rematch of sorts, but this time only without Biden. It now has Donald Trump and Kamala Harris competing with each other. And like we told you yesterday, this right now happens to be the final stretch. As they say, it's your last chance, the final and the last chance to make your best pitch, to give it all that you have, to give it your best shot. And both the candidates, Donald Trump as well as Kamala Harris, are in the final stretch, and they are giving their best shots at each other. In the meantime, the Indian Americans as well as the Indians back home, now they have a lot of opinions to share on who they would like to see making it to the White House tomorrow night. The Indian Americans who are already in the voting process have voiced their thoughts out loud on social media, and back home in India, people have emerged as sharply opinionated as well. I am talking about Nate Friedman right now. Nate Friedman, who is a famous YouTube content creator, and he creates mostly political commentary videos. Now, this gentleman has been asking the Indo-Americans in the US who they are voting for. Let's take a look at what they have to say.